1810 to 1820,
The man was.
just after the Act of Union. And there is a theory that the Ottomans would have got a payment for voting in favour of the Act of Union, and a lot of infrastructure happened in various towns where landlords were paid for voting in favour of the Act of Union, and it went into civil works, or civic works like this. So potentially it was financed by the Act of Union, but not verified. But it makes sense in terms of the timeline.
Bribe money.
Who said that? Who said that?
Pause the recording.
Well, it was an encouragement money, which wasn't uncommon with the political system of the time.
Who was the architect for the town?
Oh, it was William. Well, it was William Leeson actually. He was a Tipperary man.
Definitely.
And he started almost 250 years ago. There was a plan published in Faulkner's Journal to lay out the town of Westport for the Ottomans of Westport House, and it was to lay out, I think, the octagon and one or two streets around it. And then, this was obviously later, and it came down where they rerouted the Carabeg River, which naturally is very informal and meanders. But what they did was they canalised the river here, so they structured it into two artificial lakes. So the intake on the top, the river is a lot narrower than it is here, because it's canalised into almost two lakes with an inflow and an overflow. It's an important civic gesture, and they tree-lined the avenue on both sides, which you have today, this really important civic gesture. And the merchant princes' houses then were put on both sides, and that lines up on a visual axis with the gate lodge, which brought you into the grounds of Westport House. So the whole town was designed as a series of civic spaces interlinking on a journey, which ultimately bring you to the steps of Westport House.
Amen. And Wyatt had input into this town?
He had input into some work on Westport House at a certain time. It was thought Wyatt designed the town, but we discovered it was Mr. Leeson then in more recent times. But Wyatt would have, there's an unexecuted design for a theatre, which is the Wyatt building on the octagon, and only the front section of it was built. But the rear section of the drawings of that, signed by James Wyatt, are in the Westport House, just in the corridors off the main hall. And you can see there are lovely ink and watercolour drawings, and it shows the proposal for the theatre running down the slope, which is now a garden or an outdoor area behind what's known as the Wyatt building on the octagon. So the theatre itself wasn't executed, but the front of it was carried out. It was known as a market building in later years. So there is an unexecuted design for a theatre for the octagon, but then later that was superseded by the town hall, which became the new theatre for the town.
Good.
Thanks.
And
Thanks so